What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another gameplay video. Today we are going to be jumping into some Is It Treasure. Really excited about that. Now, before I jump into the deck and talk through, and then we'll jump into some games as well, just wanted to throw out there, I apologize, we're not able to stream today, which is why I'm going ahead and recording this. I know yesterday we also had some network issues, which was unfortunately very frustrating, but we are going to try and push through and get back to the stream very, very soon. I just wanted to make sure that we got some gameplay up, especially given that the new set just came out and that kind of stuff. I wanted to make sure that I was getting something out today. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck. We are doing Is It Treasure today. The idea of this list did come from Day9, who created his own version of this list. I watched part of that video. I found it really intriguing and a really interesting list. And so I went ahead and created my own. Now, it's slightly different. I am not using the Ifrit that he used. Instead, basically what I'm doing is just trying to get up to Sublime Epiphany or Alrund's Epiphany to just try and win the game that way. That being said, we do have a lot of brand new cards that I'm really excited about. Expressive Iteration, an amazing 2-drop, gives you a little bit of card selection and shows you 3 cards, which is pretty good for 2 mana. I mean, you think about it in standard, that's about as good as it gets. I mean, we've had Brainstorm in the past that shows you 3 cards, Ponder, things like that, but not in standard, so that's pretty awesome. Brazen Borrower, Bonecrusher Giant, just really nice interactive threats that can either shut down some of the early game on the opponent's end, or get a big threat kind of out of the way just by bouncing it with the Brazen Borrower, and then hopefully capitalizing on that with the Epiphany by then taking an extra turn as well. Prismari Command, one of my favorite new cards, and I think my favorite of the command cycle from the new set. Instant, for 3 mana, choose 2, deal 2 damage to any target, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, create a treasure, or destroy target artifact. Just super, super lucrative. And the simple fact is, the treasure token is actually very easily capitalized on in a set like this because we have things like Goldspan Dragon, which essentially doubles the amount of mana that it produces, which can really help us get to some of these big spells. Now, like I said, these 2 are really the big wins. Sublime Epiphany copying something here, Alrund's Epiphany just taking that extra turn. We do have Creative Outburst and Magma Opus, both of which are hugely powerful spells regardless. I mean, if you can play it, great. If you can't, if you just discard it to create a treasure token, it's okay, because again, we get to capitalize on it here. So we'll see. I know that this doesn't have the recursive nature that the Ifrit provides, but what I found, at least in testing, is that the Ifrit didn't deal damage like I would want it to. It'd be great if you could get it down at the right time and still have Brazen Borrower backup or something like that, but a lot of times that was not the case. And so unfortunately I was losing out on that potential, and I didn't really like that. We do have 24 lands here. We are running the full 4 Snarls, full 4 Temple and Pathways, which does make the Snarl a little bit tricky sometimes, but we're just trying it out. So this is my version. Like I said, this is very much just a test. This is a fun starting point for this deck. I do think the Ifrit is one of the cards that I want to jump back into at some point, try and get a little bit more depth behind it and see if maybe we can make that work. But as it stands right now, I think this is a very decent version of this list, so we're gonna give it a shot. I did have a little bit of an issue with the Golgari decks, which I did swap up the deck a little bit to include those Brazen Borrowers for that reason. Just being able to bounce something is really key, especially given some of the plays that deck can have. And this is an okay start. We've got the Brazen Borrower. We've also got the Creative Outburst if we want to just throw it away for a treasure token at some point. And then, of course, we've got the Epiphany as well. So I think that's worth it. Nice start as well with the Temple of Epiphany, just giving us that scry right off the bat and then having some backup. I'd like to hold on to these basics just a little bit in case we do pick up a Snarl, but we'll see. Wow, lots of temples on top here. All right, let's see what they're doing. I'm guessing that this is the Golgari sacrifice deck, which does make it great that we kept the Brazen Borrower. Being able to bounce one of their big threats here is crucial. Interesting. Okay. Witherbloom Command is not a card that I've actually seen very much of at this point. And Deadly Brew is a very cool one too. Ooh, that's very good. Okay, well, with that, let's go ahead and Expressive Iteration, I think. We do kind of miss out on some opportunity, but I'm going to go for the Prismari Command in hand. And I'll actually take this and throw it back. All right. And that's fine. We miss out on the land drop, but the reality is getting that Prismari Command is pretty big. And it looks like this may not be as heavily focused on the combo aspect of this sacrifice deck. I do think, obviously, it is a bit of a sacrifice list, but I think it's a little less focused on the combo, more focused maybe on just getting the value. So let's do this. I'm going to deal 2 damage to the Woe Strider and create a treasure token. This gets us up to 5 next turn. And then crucially, if we draw a Goldspan Dragon, we can just go ahead and play it, get another token, and then leave Brazen Borrower up. If not, we can create a couple extra treasure tokens with some of these and still leave up that Brazen Borrower here as well. Interesting. So this very much is just a value deck. This is fascinating. All right, so with that in mind, I think the play is probably just play Temple and pass, actually. So next turn, let's see. Next turn we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the Epiphany at that point. So I think that's going to be the goal. Kind of expecting them to play something here, but we'll see. We can also just bounce something as well, which is never a bad thing. Okay. Cool. And I think that will be the card we bounce. I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. And yeah, we'll just pass. Cool. So, what's nice about this, though, is now we get to Sublime Epiphany whatever they play, which is kind of just a great place to be, if I'm honest. Sublime Epiphany is just an amazing card. Unfortunately, we don't get to take or create a copy of any kind of creature. We could have just flashed out the Brazen Borrower, honestly, but I think this is a little bit better. We're going to counterspell, return this to the hand, and we are going to draw a card. Just try to get closer to that that really nice Alrund's Epiphany, ideally. Nothing there, that's fine. There's the Goldspan Dragon. Fantastic, that's exactly what we wanted to see. Let's go ahead and throw this land out there. Let's play that Goldspan Dragon and get an attack in. Crucially, we don't want to be left in a position with only one creature. We did see the deadly bruise here, and so we do have to be slightly careful about that. So I'm actually just going to pass here. We're able to flash out that Brazen Borrower if they do try and play it. And if nothing else, honestly, I think that still is just the best play that we can make. Like I said, this deck is really fun. It's just a great kind of value play, in my opinion. Super powerful, super on curve. Now, obviously, we've got some of these really big spells that we're not doing a ton with at the moment. That's okay. We don't have to. We've got so many little interactive things, and there is the Epiphany that we are kind of just sitting in a nice little place here. So I'm just going to go ahead, outwardly play this. We can get a nice little attack in here. This does not have reach, so that's not a problem. Get the damage in, and then do we want to? No, I don't think so. Go ahead and do this. Any number of target permanents. Tap. So this is crucially instant speed, so we don't have to do this right now. Look. I'll be honest. We have not gotten to this much mana in quite a while, so this is actually really cool. Let's see. Well, first, let's get the attack in. Since they can't block, it's just easy damage. Let's go ahead and do that. Now what we can do is actually kind of double up here, which I do kind of like that idea. So let's go ahead and do that. Selecting, just gonna deal it to that, tap up to 2 permanents. We could do this during their turn, obviously. Oh, we could just kill them. I'm over here like way overthinking this, guys. We could just kill them. Oh, I love it. I can count. I promise you I can count. All right, it's fine. We did it. We got the win. That's all I cared about. Yeah, that was really funny. Let's go ahead and jump into another game. That was great. I love that. So you can see, though, the power level of the deck. I mean, when you do something like that, which is just super, super powerful, dealing 4 damage, drawing 2 cards, creating 4/4, like, that's just incredible. And because we have all of that treasure from the Goldspan Dragon, from discarding some of the cards previously, like, we've got a lot of functional pieces that help us ramp into just the big, powerful stuff. And honestly, even an early Goldspan Dragon sometimes is just a really great way to kind of finish off the game. Obviously can't keep this, a little light on land. The one trick I will say is because we do have 24 land, we're very heavily focused on just trying to get I'm going to put that on the bottom. Just trying to get the treasure out, and so we don't have quite as many lands, which is okay because we do pump out the treasure tokens pretty quickly, but it does... I think we keep it just to have a land. Don't like that it's a tapped land, but it's fine. Yep. And honestly, we may just lose to a slow start here, but we're going to do the best we can. So we can play the untapped land to create a treasure token. What does that leave us for next turn, though? Not a lot. I guess it does give us Prismari Command regardless, so I think we do this. Let's go ahead and do that. It's not a great play, I'll be honest. It doesn't feel great, but that's really just because we have the tapped lands. Regardless, we wouldn't have a ton next turn, but we will have the Prismari Command. I don't want to have to use the treasure. That's kind of the trick. I'd love to be able to save that for when we do have the Goldspan Dragon, but we just don't have it at the moment, so it's okay. Crucially, though, they're not leaving up anything to help here, so this is actually kind of interesting. I am going to take the tapped land route here. We're going to utilize that treasure, deal 2 damage, and create a treasure. We're going to deal the 2 here. We're going to take that treasure token. It replaces the 1 here, which does allow us to play Goldspan Dragon next turn. And then, crucially, Goldspan Dragon is going to be able to pump 1 out as well. Now, we are behind the 8 ball in damage, for sure. And there's the Winota. Fully expected that. We may just lose here, honestly. Yep, there's the Blade Historian. And there's the Elite Spellbinder. So chances are we are just dead here. I'm not doing the math, but yeah, there we go. So well done, opponent. They just had a really good start. We had a slightly slower start. I don't think it would have mattered terribly much either way, I'll be honest. I think that deck is just hugely powerful. And we weren't going to necessarily outpace it. We could have had a more interactive start. Something like Bonecrusher Giant along with Brazen Borrowers, things like that may have done a little bit more. But regardless, still a fun match. And we'll jump into a game 3. We will see. Let's get some wins. I don't know how many games we're going to do in this video, by the way. We're probably going to go for like 30 minutes, something like that. And we'll see. We'll see. It may not be quite that long just based on how quickly some of these games are going. Yeah, we'll keep this. We've got the Brazen Borrower into Prismari Command to create that treasure token. So I do think that that's worth it. I'm going to put the other Goldspan on the bottom, though, here. I think we do want to get some more low ground kind of interactive spells. Looks like mono red is the play here, which makes sense. Sure, we'll play the Snarl, and we'll just pass. Now, in an ideal situation, they try and target this with a pump spell, and we just get to Brazen Borrow it, which would fizzle that pump spell. Should just be great. Okay, so we are going to Brazen Borrower the Robber. It saves us a little bit more damage. It also keeps them from being able to cast one of our spells. Very, very crucial. And then there's that. Being that this is instant speed as well, we kind of luck out here because we can just sit back. And if they play the Robber, that's fine. Ideally, we hit it for 2, create a treasure, and then next turn we've got the Goldspan Dragon available. So kind of interesting to see how this actually plays out. So there is the robber. I am going to hit that. Deal 2, create a treasure. Which again allows that Goldspan Dragon. Goldspan Dragon, really, really good against mono red for a lot of reasons. Crucially, though, it's just powerful. It's just a more powerful card. So we're going to throw this out there. I am going to attack in to make sure that we get that treasure token. Obviously, I know we're facing down a mono red deck, but if this is difficult for them to deal with, then it's kind of okay. We don't really want to be in a position where we block and then they frostbite it or they do something along those lines. That doesn't seem great to me. They're going to double frostbite it, I'm guessing, which kind of works for me, if I'm honest. Yeah, they're going to Bonecrusher it too. Wow. So the question becomes, do we just play out the Brazen Borrower? I think yes. While we can, let's go ahead and throw it out there. It's not doing a whole lot this turn. It's not like we're going to block with it. It's nothing like that. But crucially, it just means we can get in for a attack here, and we still have another treasure token. Oh, that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Exactly what we need. We get to counter something on the way down, draw some cards. Awesome. Exactly what we want. Again, Sublime Epiphany, such a game-winning kind of card if you can get it off at the right time, and this is the right time. So, counter target spell, return, create a token, and draw. Okay, target a non-land permanent. We're going to target that, target a creature we control, and target a player. Let's do it. 4 for 1. A 4 for 1, guys. Like, that's so good. Creates a second Brazen Borrower, so we get to threaten more in the skies, and they have no other play this turn, which is just fantastic. We can't quite play this yet. We do get to attack in here, obviously. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next turn we can just play these. I think given that, we just wait. Deals 5 damage to any target. We can just hit them next turn and kind of win off of that. Crucially, they have to deal with these Brazen Borrowers, otherwise they just will die. Unbeknownst to them, they're on a 1-turn clock, but obviously they don't know that. And even still, they're on a 1-turn clock. That does not solve their problem. We have 8 damage essentially sitting between this and the Brazen Borrower. And so we should be in good shape. Crucially, they were fairly unlucky in the fact that they did not draw more land. Sure, it doesn't matter what we take here. And there we go, we got the win. Nice, clean win. I like it. Very well suited against the mono red deck there. Was a little surprised, I'll be honest. The lands that we had in the beginning, we had a little bit more than you would necessarily want. Now, we obviously got to capitalize that with the Creative Outburst, but in particular, that can be a hindrance if you're just not drawing what you need. But fortunately, we were able to get through it. So we got there. We got there. Game 4, I believe we are 2-1 is the current record. We've got a Bonecrusher Giant. We've got the... again, that kind of slow start, but we do have the expressive iterations to help us get there. We're going to try this. This is going to really, really, hopefully show off the power of this expressive iteration. We do have to cast it at the right time, crucially. That's very, very important. Can we get... Ooh, I'm going to actually bottom it. As much as I really want that, don't get me wrong, I do, but we kind of want to hit a basic land so we can play out the Snarl, and we do not get there. So... let's go ahead, Temple. I'm going to throw that on the bottom. I think now we're looking for maybe a Prismari Command or even a Goldspan Dragon would be good. But Prismari Command really just does so much in this deck. Wow, interesting. Hero Virus. Okay. And there is the Goldspan Dragon. So let's Expressive Iteration. All right, one of these goes into our hand. Let's put Bonecrusher in hand. Let's put Magma Opus and this in exile. which just means we get to play this. And that's, I mean, that was a pretty good expressive iteration. It hit all of the things that we needed, some early interaction, an extra land, which we desperately needed. Oh, look at this. Elf Death Touch. Interesting. Okay, so what do we do? I think the play is quite simply just killing this and probably just playing a Snarl. It's a little unexciting, and I'm doing this on my turn just to ensure that they can't do anything about this. They do have this to sacrifice the creature, which could very easily fizzle the Bonecrusher Giant, and we don't want that to happen, because really, I'm okay with trading the Bonecrusher Giant. The fact of the matter is that is not our win condition. The Goldspan Dragon very much is, and so it's okay if we lose that down the road. Okay. So we get a nice 2-drop, sure. That really doesn't matter at all. And this is actually going to be a really nice turn. So we can Goldspan Dragon here. We get to attack. We also get to throw this at this, which I am going to just automatically do. Again, without them being able to sacrifice it to that Pyre of Heroes, that sets them back quite a bit. This is very much like a Birthing Pod-esque deck, if anybody played Modern years and years ago. This is the idea here, is to sacrifice the creature, be able to get something a little stronger out. It's a very cool build, but I don't think it's really the best. That being said, I have no clue what they have here. It could be really, really good. That, unfortunately for them, is not. Really should have played the Snarl, actually. That was a bit of a mistake, but that is okay. Let's go ahead and play this. We're going to attack in. And again, this is where Prismari Command showing off just a lot of power. It can take out that Pyre of Heroes if it needed to. Wow, we can do both of these. Let's just do this for now. So we're going to actually get rid of the creature. Doesn't look like much, but I know how this deck works, and I'm not trying to die to it. And so we're actually going to take the Prismari Command here as well. Again, this is just a nice, clean answer to that Pyre of Heroes, and that's exactly what we need. So I'm going to take it. We've got the pressure with the Goldspan Dragon. We can also double into Bonecrusher Giants here. Feel okay about that. So I'm not excessively worried. Oh my gosh, and they just played right into our hand. Let's play the Snarl. Let's make sure we do this correctly. Let's deal 2 damage and destroy target artifact. Just getting rid of their entire board here. Super, super clean. Let's go ahead and play that Bonecrusher Giant. And then honestly, we get to play the other Bonecrusher Giant as well if we would like. Now, crucially, they have not hit lands. They have had some ramping creatures, but we've been able to answer every single one of them, which puts us just in such a prime position. Now, if they do have another land and they do have a sweeper, they can hit Extinction Event for odd. Obviously, they didn't, but that would have very cleanly dealt with what we were doing, but thankfully they didn't have it. So we are now 3-1. I think we have time for one more game in today's video, guys. Huge appreciation for everybody who's been very patient on the stream. I know that it's very frustrating. Trust me. Probably more than you guys do. I find it very frustrating when the stream dips down and stuff like that. And so unfortunately, it's just something that I'm working around at the moment with our ISP and stuff. So this is kind of the compromise for the time being. We will be jumping back into it, but today is a very busy day. So I'm recording early so I can make sure that I have something up for you guys. Yeah, we keep this. Little bit of early interaction, and then a lot of really powerful spells, but crucially we can drop these for those treasure tokens to help us get to the Epiphany. Looks like the opponent did mulligan as well. Nice land there. Not upset by that at all. Super happy to have a Bonecrusher Giant as well. Looks like white is on the play, so I'm worried a little bit about that Winota deck. So we very, very much will need answers to deal with whatever creatures they decide to play. If it's a Luminarch Aspirant, we want to be able to Bonecrusher Giant it. If it's the Professor and they pull a Learn Lesson, whatever it is, we don't really want to bounce that because they would get the extra pull. But We can deal with that as we get there. Opponent taking their time, nothing wrong with that. And there is the Luminarch Aspirant, fantastic. We are going to very cleanly answer that. I'm actually going to go here because, again, we have the Snarl, so I want to make sure that we take advantage of that. Playing this now, or excuse me, killing that now before they get to play the little enchantment guy, that the 1/1 lifelink that gets to save it. Like, we don't want to do any of that stuff, so trying to make sure that we take care of it early. And here, another example of where Brazen Borrower is going to hopefully come into play very, very cleanly. We just get to bounce this on attacks at their next turn, most likely. Now, we could also just play Bonecrusher Giant, and that would be perfectly fine. And we'll kind of see what we draw. We'll debate on that as we get closer. We could draw another Bonecrusher Giant, try and get them to discard a card to give that indestructible, which is not a bad play in some cases. But I think what we are going to do, it's a human, so I'm not excessively worried about any kind of Winota next turn. So I'm going to just play the Bonecrusher Giant here. Just give us that blocker. We'll see if this works out. It may not, but that Brazen Borrower is one that I really want to be able to bounce the Blade Historian if possible. If this is the Winota deck, which I'm fairly certain it probably is, but we'll see. Maul, that's fine. I mean, that's a big hit, don't get me wrong, but that's fine. We can deal with the Maul. Again, Prismari Command coming in clutch. Okay, so here we've got a couple options, actually. First of which, we are just going to attack in. There's no reason really not to. We're going to probably create a treasure token and leave up the Brazen Borrower to bounce that Season Hollow Blade back. But let's go ahead and get a little bit of damage in first. Do this. Now, crucially, we could also foretell the Epiphany, which doesn't seem bad, but I do want to make sure that we can play that Goldspan Dragon, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, because this just guarantees that next turn we're able to do that. So, we can pass now, expecting the attack in. We just Brazen Borrow it away, bounce it back. We'll let that resolve. Kind of hoping that they have something else to play on the Hollow Blade, to be honest. But as we move to attacks, that's exactly what we're going to do, is bounce it. Perfect. So this just guarantees that they aren't doing any damage this turn, which is fantastic. And there we go. We honestly could have waited, and then they wouldn't have been able to attach the equipment, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So we do this. We get to play the Goldspan Dragon, which I think is the correct play, because again, it just sets us up very cleanly for next turn. This does not have double strike, however, it could get it. I'm going to attack in with both here. See what they do. They may trade off. They may not. I have no idea, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Gets us a little closer to that damage there. And we're just going to pass. 100% expect them to obviously just kind of equip up and give it double strike and deal a butt ton of damage to us. But if that's all they're doing, I don't feel terrible about it. It's a lot of damage. It's a scary amount of damage, but I believe it would be then 12, if I'm not mistaken. Sure. That's interesting. Okay. I don't know why they didn't just take the... Oh, they did not do anything. Interesting. Okay. So we can instant speed Magma Opus here. Let's just look at options, though. We should always look at those options. I think first, honestly, it's just to do this, right? This just gives us extra hits. Let's go ahead and do that. and they are giving up. Look at that. So what we could have done there is attacked in, taken the extra turn, given the Goldspan Dragon, or probably taken out the Goldspan Dragon, but then played another one next turn, which would have won the game. So there we go, guys. We finish out with a very strong record, only 1 loss. That's pretty solid. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. This one's a really, really fun one. I think there's a lot of like variant stuff that you can do. Again, the Ifrit is one that I think should be at least considered if you're going to be building a deck like this. But for me, I didn't feel like it was worth it. I thought just playing out those treasure tokens, really capitalizing on some of the Epiphany cards is exactly what you want, and it worked great. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys very soon for another gameplay video.